You ever wonder what's up there?
Like what?
Maybe someone up there was wondering what it's like here.
I guess. Do you think we'll ever meet them?
I hope so. Don't you?
High time I finally did a fully dedicated video to Halo. I've been thinking of doing a retrospective video, or a music-focused one. However, something I think deserves more attention is the marketing campaign for Halo 3. The Believe campaign. If you're someone in a position for marketing watching this video for some reason, pay attention, because if you can make the advertisements for the media you're working with even 25% as good as the Believe campaign, it will sell. What is the one word that can describe Halo 3's marketing? Genuine. You see, for most games, movies, or TV, when they make commercials and other pieces of marketing, it tends to focus on the action at hand, with the main character doing cool and badass things to show us all we should be tuning in. Now, while that's not a terrible way to go about it, and works for the most part, those working on the Halo 3 ads fully understood what this series was about. Halo has a tendency to show what's happening around the main plot in the adjacent material to the game. Commercials and other pieces of media for it will often show other events that are happening that loosely tie into what takes place in the game. Now, while Halo has action, lots of it, that's not the full story. Halo CE was an experiment. No one knew it was going to start something monumental. It was just some sci-fi action game that had solid gameplay and an intriguing enough story. Halo 2 was what many would consider a summer blockbuster, despite releasing in November. It had big action set pieces and one-liners to rival Die Hard. However, Halo 3 was the culmination of the experience from 1 and 2, not only for the developers, but the players as well. It was the most refined game of the series. The story, while not as bombastic as Halo 2, instead went for a more mature, nuanced approach. The stakes were at the highest they had been, but we were coming at it from the mindset of knowing exactly what needs to be done, rather than making it up as we go, like in the last two games. This maturity was brought into the marketing campaign, and because of that, instead of just getting commercials that were one and done, people specifically go out of their way to rewatch the Believe commercials. That's just how good they are. You see, what Believe did was make Halo feel real. The team producing it decided to make an in-universe retrospective documentary of the war. Also, in an absolute stroke of genius, they were able to make the behind-the-scenes footage of the creation of the diorama a part of the documentary as well. To those who had never played it before, they saw what looked like, at first, a real documentation of war. Older men talking about their experience, bringing a grizzled and haunting tone to it. Of course, those outside the know would find out it was for a game by the end of the commercial. However, for a game to be taken this seriously in its marketing, that was something unheard of at the time. This served to get people on the outside interested, rather than just seeing it as some game for kids because Mario or something. Suddenly, it had real weight to it. For just some video game to be taken this seriously, there must be something else to it. To fans of the series, the war was real. We were attached to the characters, the universe, what was at stake. So for these commercials to treat the Human Covenant War like it was a real thing, for these retired soldiers to talk about what they had went through and what the chief did for them. To the players, it was like we were hearing the appreciation from the soldiers we had fought alongside in the games, what we meant to them while we were playing as the Master Chief. The commercials served to legitimize our passion towards this series. The lack of action, explosions, blood, guts, and war in these advertisements only served to make them stand out more. They didn't need action to get us excited. They didn't want us to get excited. They wanted us to be reminded of the sacrifice that humanity made to win the war. The two former soldiers discussing their roles, what weapons they used. One of them telling us that he wouldn't have agreed to do this interview before this point. Then picking up the spiker, his hesitation, his aversion to holding an enemy weapon. Then finally, revealing that he's still alive because of the chief. The other man in the museum, presumably looking at the diorama, hinting that he was one of the soldiers in that set piece, explaining that he was firing the gun on the back of a warthog, and he saw the Master Chief arming his plasma grenade. And seeing that, knowing that Master Chief was still in the fight, gave him the courage to continue. The Woods commercial, the man explaining the situation they were in at the time, and how they had to go completely lights out while the Covenant were hunting them. The retired soldier pausing for a moment after being asked if they could turn out the lights. The trauma of that night coming back to him. Without needing to, he begins speaking in whispers, as if he's back in that moment, needing to hide from the Covenant, whispering to avoid detection. Lastly, the soldier talking about the legacy of the Spartans and the chief, giving us one of the most memorable quotes.
Chief told me once that no soldier should be honored for doing what is expected.
The closest thing we got to action from the Believe campaign was the diorama set itself. And even that wasn't there to get our adrenaline going. The commercial alone tells you everything you need to know about what Halo is. This 1 minute long video is nearly a lifetime of meaning. A single moment in time, showing the horrors of war, the fear, the exhaustion, the overwhelming enemy, death and destruction, all without needing a single moving part. And all of it set to classical piano. It's both a serene tone, but also dramatic when it needs to be, which perfectly captures what this is. A still moment, calm, slow camera movements, allowing us to soak in the detail, but with subject matter that is still intense. This all culminates in a close-up on the chief, at first defeated in the grip of an enemy leader. However, as he arms his plasma grenade, we get the only animated shot in the commercial. Chief looks up at the camera, at us. Then we cut to black, the single word: believe. This is the heart of Halo. Despite all the chaos, the death, if you believe you can prevail through it, hold on for a second longer. You might just make it through. These trailers, this marketing campaign, it struck a different chord than normal. It didn't appeal to our want for action. It appealed to our sense of sacrifice, what's necessary in times of war, what the soldiers go through to keep the enemy at bay. The use of the older actors helped to sell the gravity of the Human Covenant war. Their body language, their reactions to the props and set pieces, their tone of voice, especially when talking about the harder moments of their experiences. It all lent itself to making us believe that this war that never actually happened did, and it was gruesome. See, In a game that's known for its big set pieces taking place on ancient monolithic alien structures, fighting not only an enemy that has better technology, but also trying to fend off an all-consuming parasite. These interviews served to bring it all back down to a human level. Now, it came to my attention some months ago, there's actually an alternate trailer for the Believe commercial. You can find it on Polygon, I'll link it in the description. However, I'm going to try to show some scenes of it, without copyright completely destroying me. Needless to say, I'm really glad they went with the one we got. In all my years of production, I've learned one thing. Many times, less is more. And this is true for Halo as well. At the time, 300 just released a year prior to Halo 3, so it was still in the pop culture sensibility. However, if the Believe trailer had used the music from 300, I think it would have dated the commercial far worse than anyone would have known at the time. Piano is timeless, and because of that, it helped keep the trailer timeless. My other complaint about this alternate trailer is that it's far too actiony. It's trying too hard to be epic, instead of just letting the scene speak for itself. And I am eternally grateful that the marketing team understood this, giving us what we got. I don't want to sound like I'm insulting the alternate trailer, as lots of work was put into that as well, and I respect the effort. But it simply isn't Halo. Halo is about what's not said, what's not completely shown. It's about the nuance of the scene, rather than a gravity hammer slamming down on us. Overall, the Believe campaign is a once-in-a-lifetime level of originality, genuine storytelling, and understanding the material. The Believe campaign made outsiders interested in something they had never given any serious interest for. It made players feel legitimized, appreciated, like our hobby and passion was to be taken serious. It made us believe in a war that didn't actually happen. It made us believe in the sacrifice of people that don't exist. Simply put, it made us believe.